And welcome everyone to our weekly call. Thanks for joining. Hope you had a great weekend. To just remind you the sort of topics for our call this week, if I just share my slides. As you'll see, the sort of main focus, we'll do a preview of some of the sort of highlights of the forthcoming DNS-OARC and NANOG 87, DNS-OARC 40 to fully title that, and NANOG 87 events. In a second, I'll hand over to Steve and Dinesh from the OARC team to talk about what's coming up at the OARC event, and then once I've done that, I'll just run through some of the things that caught my eye from the NANOG event, which immediately precedes OARC, co-located in the same venue in Atlanta. And then, as always, we just talk through some of, although it doesn't say it on there, but talk through some of the sort of recent developments, forthcoming events, etc. Just to cover off those as well. So probably without further ado, let me stop sharing my screen. I think many of you on this call will have met either in person or virtually Dinesh and Steve from the OARC team. So welcome both again to the call. A few months since the last one. It must have been just before the last OARC event, I presume, wherever that was. That was Belgrade.
Belgrade.
Yeah. It seems like a long time ago. It's only a few months, but there you are.
Yes.
Anyway, so gents, thank you for coming on the call. Let me hand over to you, and yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and share this, if I may. I'm going to share our.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. So I'll start. We only have one slide, so you don't have to quickly rush writing everything down. Just keep a note of the link that's on there, because that will lead you to all the information you need to know. My name is Dinesh. I'm the meetings person, and I do a lot of outreach for OARC, and I'm joined today by OARC's memberships manager, Steve Sullivan. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this call, and thank you to Andrew for inviting us here today. Basically, before I go on to the next event, what I wanted to say was that because we had COVID over the past few years, we went through the COVID lockdown stuff over the past few years, we went completely online. And when we came back to in-person events, we decided to keep the online stuff and make it a hybrid. A hybrid is different to, slightly different to what we used to do in the past, which was just webcasting, where it was just passive viewing, whereas now we have as much full-on participation from remote viewers as we can do within the technology that we can afford, basically. So we have a hybrid solution in place. And the hybrid solution also means that speakers can come in remotely as well. So we do have a block in the upcoming meeting. We do have a block of time where it's the remote speakers section, and that's on day 2 in the first 2 sessions of the morning. But anyway, before I go into that, wanted to say that because of COVID and the way that it's affected everyone and continues to do so, we decided that we'll give ourselves a bit of a breather, because it was a very, very busy time, even though we were only doing online stuff, but also trying to keep the organization going and relevant and build the membership, or actually build the community, the DNS community. So what we've decided to do this year, and it may leak into next year as well, is we only have 2 events. We used to have 3 events a year, but this year we've only got 2 events. We have the upcoming one in Atlanta in just over a week's time. And what we also have is the second one this year. We're still planning, but I can give you a glimpse of what we're looking at. We're looking at co-locating with the ICANN DNS Symposium, and we're looking at doing this outside of North America and outside of Europe. The plan is to actually try and do this in Latin America, or even Asia Pacific somewhere. The top contender so far is Vietnam, but we are looking at what sort of thing VNNIC can support us with, and we're also looking at what ICANN's thoughts are. But ICANN have said to us that actually Vietnam would be a great place for them to go, and they'd like to support us in doing that. So it'd be a joint thing where there's maybe 2 days of ICANN DNS Symposium, and then there would be half a day of maybe the ROW, and then 2 days of DNS-OARC. And of course, we'll be working on a joint program committee, so there's no overlapping content for that one. And the other thing is, it'll be completely free to attend, which is slightly different to the upcoming one. So if you can spend, instead of spending the money on the registration fees, you actually spend the money on traveling to Asia or Latin America, wherever it is, that'd be great. Anyway, back to OARC 40. 2 days event. In fact, in addition to the 2 days event where we have a number of speakers, which I'll come to in a bit, what we do have is we have our software developer, Jerry Lundstrom, who is going to run a session the day before, on the Wednesday, in the same venue on DNS and Grafana, DSC and Grafana. So for that, I will hand you over to Steve. Steve, over to you.
Hey guys, this is Steve Sullivan, a membership coordinator for DNS-OARC. Thanks, Dinesh, for that, and thanks, Andrew, for having us today. The Grafana, or DSC plus Grafana, as it is called, is a learning experience, information sharing that Jerry, our software engineer, our illustrious software engineer, is going to hold for members and non-members alike. It's the day before, that would be the 15th. It starts at 2 p.m. local time, and you will register on the same registration pathway as you see in front of you. You start at Indico, go into the registration page, which is the second page or a page behind it, and you'll see registration on the left-hand side. And at the bottom, there'll be a link to connect to the DSC plus Grafana. What it is, it's basically a session where Jerry's going to learn or share his experiences in setting up Grafana dashboards and graphs using DSC outputs. And some of them are pretty cool looking. He's pretty tickled with them, and he wants to share that knowledge with as many people as he can. Cost is going to be $25 to attend this $2 event, so it's very economical. It is on-site only. It will be very interactive and less of a class and more of a, moving together through the module. And we have done this in the past remotely, but this will be in person only. The remote ones tend to be demand engagements or command engagements where we actually will engage with an organization and hold it specifically for them, or we'll open up to the general public. This will be our first live one, so I'm looking forward to seeing it there. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Am I missing anything, Dinesh?
I think just mentioned it's a couple of hours. That's all it is. There will be refreshments, and that's it, really.
There you go.
Yeah.
And back to you, Mr. Dinesh.
Okay. Thank you. So back to OARC 40, a 2-day event. So far, the agenda's published. There are 16 attendees, there are more than that. There are 16 presenters with 16 presentations. Fantastic content. You'll be coming out. If you think about your stomach being full after lunch, this will be your brain bursting with knowledge after the 2 days. You will actually want to relax at the end of day one, where we will have a social. Actually, we have a social for both people in person, and we have a social for people who are going to be remote attendees. And one of our PC members, Hazel Smith, will be chairing, but she'll be there to talk to all the remote attendees who want to just have a chat and talk about different things. It could be about the content, it could be about anything. And that will be the remote thing, which we will do on Spatial Chat. And the actual in-person one will keep a secret until a bit later on. So there's going to be 2 days of content, 16 talks, 16 presenters. In addition to that, we are looking at having 3 to 4 lightning talks in the final session of day 2. Those talks haven't been decided yet. The submissions are going to happen on day 1. And if anyone here who is going to be attending in person and you are interested in giving a lightning talk, please keep an eye out for the call of presentations for that. And you'll be able to submit on day 1, and day 2, they will be announced as to which ones will happen in the afternoon session on day 2. Now, the thing is that it's been really hard for us to work out which of the things to tickle your fancy with in terms of, actually, we want you to attend this thing. If you haven't already registered, we just wanted to come up with maybe a couple that you may think, actually, yes, it's worth me attending, either remotely or in person. But it's been really difficult for Steve and I to come up with any of the talks, actually, because they're all really, really good. And of course, the fantastic program committee who curate this make it even harder for us. But I think we've come up with just two. So I'll hand over to Steve to talk about the first one briefly.
Thank you. Yep. So let me go back to my abstract here. So these are actually really good. We have a lot of good content coming up, as Denesh mentioned, and a couple we highlighted here that we really thought were interesting. It was tough to choose. I looked at Drink, an experimental dynamic authoritative server. That's kind of an interesting concept they're putting out there. It's been a bit since anybody's had an openly available DNS server. And although this is experimental, there's a lot of useful tools built into Drink that are going to appeal to operational groups. And those tools can actually be implemented in existing implementations. So this will probably pique a lot of interest within our community. And we're looking forward to having the talk from Stefan Bortsmeyer. I hope I said that right. Back to you,
yes.
Dinesh.
Okay.
Oh,
yes, there's a comment here. The slide hasn't changed. Yes. So the slide won't change. There's only a single slide. That's all you need to look at. If there is any content you need to know, or you need to follow up on any of the content, it's at the link dns-oarc.net/OARC40, because that's where the things
I'll
are.
drop it in the chat for us.
Sure. Okay. That's where the thing is that all we need to do. My whole idea is to have as few slides as possible. So I just did one. Okay, so further to Steve's Drink, I've been given a dare. So I'm going to Jianli's dare talk, Dare Shark. And basically, from his abstract, public hosting services provide convenience for domain owners to build web applications with better scalability and security. So as time has gone on, we've all gone the cloud services way. However, the thing is that with cloud services, hosting-based domain takeover is something we all need to be aware of. It's really, really, really easy for it to accidentally happen. So something like DareShark, which has automated detection, allows awareness, automated detection basically allows, raises awareness and possible solutions for cloud operators. So this is something that, as things have gone on and the world has changed, such services such as DareShark will help operators automatically. It will raise awareness that way. So and it will allow things to be much more streamlined. So those are the two things. We've been through Drink, we've been through Dare, and I guess we'll go through Resolution, and that's back down to DNS. So that's it so far. Do you have any questions? Just a reminder, it's a 2-day event. Please register if you haven't already. If you have, please go and have a look at the agenda. We will have we are going to have 2 lunches in between, and 4 coffee breaks actually. Also, there's going to be lots and lots of time for people to mingle and communicate and build their relationships, make better their ongoing relationships, because at the end of the day, DNS-OARC is all about community, and building that community while building the current community stronger is what our aim is. Thank you.
That's what people are thinking. I'll perhaps sort of mention a couple that caught my eye as well, if I may, Dinesh and Steve. So other than the 2 that you mentioned, I thought that there's a couple of sessions. I think the first morning, one on post-quantum DNSSEC, which I hadn't really given a lot of thought to that, but that's obviously important, looking at the sort of post-quantum world, and also an update on DNS-Crypt protocol, or what the current state and planned extensions of that one are. And also in the afternoon of day one, how ready is the global DNS for IPv6? So plenty of diverse and meaty content there. And the other thing, in case anyone just hadn't twigged, it is co-located with NANOG 87, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So anyone that's going to NANOG, you haven't even got to change hotels. It's that easy.
Yeah, we're going to be right there for you.
I just wondered, I will need to dash off shortly for doing a school run type thing. So are there any questions for either Steve or myself? Steve is going to stay on. So my apologies for needing to leave early today. But are there any questions before I do go?
Anyone with any questions, either pop in the chat or raise your virtual hand if you've got any questions on OARC 40. Give you a moment to think.
Thanks, Suzanne. I was going to actually ask if we should display the program, but it doesn't fit on a screen, one screen. So that link that Suzanne just dropped is where you can see the pretty much everything, the schedule, the list of attendees, the abstracts, and we keep these up after the fact as well. So you can revisit the talks. If you have fond memories of something that, someone's saying or just want to refer back to it, we leave it up forever on our Indico site at indico.dns-oarc.net.
I think you probably covered it all. I'm not seeing any questions currently from anyone.
Okay. In which case, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Andrew, for the invitation.
That's brilliant. Thanks for Dinesh and Steve. Yeah, I hope you catch your daughter a good time at the school, Dinesh.
Thank you. Thanks.
See you, Dinesh.
See you.
Dinesh was still momentarily sharing his screen, which was quite funny there. Okay, well, look, let's seamlessly then, as I mentioned, the OARC is co-located alongside NANOG. So let me just briefly touch on a couple of things that caught my eye at the NANOG event, which is Monday through Wednesday, immediately before OARC, which is on the Thursday and Friday of next week, actually. It's come around really soon. So I'm hoping that you can see this on your screen. I've just done a couple of screenshots from the NANOG agenda, and in fact it actually starts technically on the Sunday, not the main event, but there's a hackathon on the Sunday, as well as an education class exploring the fundamentals of DNS. Can you dig it? So I thought, given the focus of this call, that was worth mentioning that that is taking place on the Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time, as you can see.
That's a pretty interesting class.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting in on it too, because ISC will be holding that, and it's basically it's my team or my tribe. So if you go, we'll see you there.
Fantastic. So that will be running through on the Sunday for anyone that's in Atlanta early, or indeed online. I presume it's accessible online. Then, as you can see, I've got the Monday. Sorry, touch my mouse there. Monday agenda. There was nothing. It's good content, but there was nothing that specifically jumped out to me on the Monday. Whereas on the Tuesday, Mary Wharton's giving a keynote, a security practitioner's guide to internet measurement, which I think will be very interesting. And I'm pleased to see that topically somebody's got ChatGPT and network engineering lined up for a half-hour or 45-minute slot on the Monday, so Tuesday afternoon. So good to see ChatGPT featuring on the agenda at NANOG. And then on the Wednesday, again, two sessions that caught my eye. One was just looking at the impact on internet traffic of the World Cup, given that the next one will take place in North America. So obviously of direct interest to North American network operators. And also on the Wednesday, a session on, again, on internet measurement. So sort of fitting in nicely with the keynote on the Tuesday. There may well be some interesting lightning talks, but as with OARC, the details of those are to be announced. So I don't know what they are yet, but certainly in the past there have been some pretty interesting lightning talks. But they were just a selection of highlights that caught my eye. But as you would have seen, there's a lot of content at NANOG. So if you're able to make the whole week in Atlanta, I think it'd be well worth your while next week. But if not, a very punchy 2 days for OARC is looking equally good. So that's probably it for me, I think, in terms of NANOG. I don't know anyone else that's looking at the agenda at NANOG. If you've got anything you wanted to mention, feel free to jump in and say so. If you think I've done a major disservice by missing something really obvious by way of a highlight. Pretty well attended, by the way. Last time I checked, it was about 550 or so registered attendees. I think numbers still climbing somewhat. So
in person too, a lot of in person.
Yeah. Is there no remote at NANOG, Steve?
No, but last I checked, there was only 50 registered remote. So it's the first time in a bunch of years that there's been more on in person than remote.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, let's move on. I'll just sort of pull out some of the news highlights from the last week. As always, you'll see links to all of these in the weekly headlines, and I'll share them again afterwards in case you missed those. I won't read through all of these. You can do these at your leisure. But first one, definitely worth a mention, RIPE's DNS Resolver Best Common Practice Task Force, which has sort of talked about the last two RIPE meetings. That's now up and running. And the link will sort of tell you all about the what the charter is, the sort of active members of the task force, etc. So plenty of information about it on the link. So that's worth a look. Also, a couple of links linking to a couple of links about DNS-4EU with some additional thoughts on that. An interesting article from Adgard giving a pretty balanced take, in my view, on the project, and a second take as well from one of the sort of German publications. So make sure you got your translate if you're not fluent in German.
Andreas.
Yes, there's plenty of people on this call that will be very comfortable with reading that. And then sort of various other things. One which again caught my eye was the fact that Pixel8 have got a tool to help measure how much traffic is coming from the iCloud Private Relay service, which I think is quite a useful development. And then just clicking through, a reminder that if you're planning to attend ITF 116, the early bird registration ends at 23:59 today. So if you want to take advantage of the early bird saving, then you got till end of today to do so. Otherwise, there's an uplift of I think it's about $150, I think, for in person, a bit less than that for remote. And it's not too late, as I mentioned earlier, or still okay to register for both NANOG and indeed OARC. You've got links there to the agendas for both of those. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it from me on the sort of news from this week. A number of interesting topics, I thought, sort of things moving forward. I should have removed FOSDEM from the list of forthcoming events, as that happened over the weekend. I know a few people on this call were at it. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on their FOSDEM experience, give you a chance to do so if you wish. It looked like it was pretty packed out, and I know there was
yes.
Peter, far away.
Yeah, just quickly, it was really good for me personally. I was in the DNS dev room. I did a lightning talk version of the bit bizarre and unusual uses of DNS, which I did here the other day. So I did the whole thing, which was like 45 minutes on this call. I did in 10 minutes. It was a minus a few slides. I didn't talk about myself at all, which took about 10 minutes off it. And it was great. It was really, really good. There were some great talks as well that were there. I got to see Stefan Bortsmeyer talk about Drink as well. It's really interesting. And the stuff that he's done he used Elixir to build it. And so I've really only thought about the kind of fun side that he's done with it, like the lock queries and URI queries and a calculator that uses the actual plus sign and host names and all these kind of things. But he talked about his considerations about making it crash proof and parallel processing, and each Erlang and functional languages is sort of just a whole mess. That was a highlight, but there were some really good talks there, and everything's online already pretty much. So definitely worth going checking out for that thing. And thanks to Peter van Dijk for organizing everything. It's really nice to go to a conference where everything is completely free and open, and registration's free, and it's all just done by people who love what they're doing, which is amazing. Anyway, thanks.
And also I saw, I think it was on, was it Twitter maybe? You also picked up Wikipedia over DNS.
Yeah, so that was one of the things in my talk that didn't work anymore. I guess he's taken it over, and yeah, very cool. Yeah. I'm quite happy to see him do that, I have to say. I got some really nice comments afterwards. Some of the people that came up and talked to me, there was like 3 students who were saying that they have to get Doom running over DNS somehow. So hopefully see that one day.
Yes, certainly X over DNS is definitely a topic for students, I would have thought. Yeah. Well, anyway, sounds like a good time was had by all then over the weekend, which is good to hear. And as you can see from the screen, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up over the next few months around the world. So plenty of interesting conferences running through in the next 4 or 5 months now, which is good to see. Reminder on this call. Next week, I hadn't had a chance yet to talk to Arno, but I think we plan to talk about further out ECH deployment issues on the call next week. Week after, I'll sort of spend a little bit just reflecting on some of the highlights from the OARC and NANOG events based on what was discussed actually during the events. So a bit more on that then. And I'm trying to line up with Emily Taylor and colleagues a demonstration of their DAP Live system. That's from the DNS Research Federation. Sort of timing to be confirmed, but should be either 27th February or 6th of March, but just waiting for them to confirm what works best for their diaries. And then other stuff, again, being finalised. If anyone's got any other topics you wish to see covered, either by yourself or indeed by others, do just reach out to me and let me know what they are. I'll be happy to accommodate them on the list in due course. I think this week that's pretty much it from me. So a bit short and sweet this week in terms of sort of prepared content, but definitely time for any other business this week, unlike the last few weeks where we've been a bit up against it time-wise. So does anyone have anything else you'd like to share, or indeed on reflection, any questions on OARC, because Steve's still here, or anything else that has crossed your desk over the last week or so? And as always, either unmute or put them in the chat, whichever's easier. Sorry, was that Peter?
Yeah, it was me again. Do we have anyone from Newstar on the call?
don't think so. You're referring to their product announcement?
Yeah. I would love someone to come and tell us about that. I don't know if that would be of interest to other people.
Did anybody else find it interesting that they chose DDR as a part of their name?
Yeah. That was. I wonder how long they've been planning that for. Or are they aware of like the other?
I don't
DDR?
know. I don't know who came up with the name. I wasn't sure if like somebody just missed it in their research or what. But I saw that and I was like, oh, that could be really confusing for people.
Yeah, it's as if we don't have enough conflicting acronyms.
Right.
In case anyone missed it, because I didn't actually mention that one specifically, so they've come up with or they announced a new tool, their DNS detection response service, DDR. Let me put it was on the slide, but I'll just pop this into the chat. Should anyone be interested in it? That's sort of in the chat now. I don't know if anyone on the call knows anyone from New Star. I don't think I do.
I do.
Oh, do you, Steve?
New Stars from New Star Security Services.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, if you could help sort of with an introduction, that'd be really useful too, because it'd be great to have one of their team come on and talk about.
I actually can. Yeah, I believe Steve DeYoung is going to be at OARC 40. Andrew, you're going to be there too, so that'll be an easy introduction.
An actual in-person introduction rather than a virtual one, even better.
Yeah, let's make sure if I happen to lose my mind and forget, because we're going to be a little busy, just feel free to grab me and we'll point him out. Steve's a good guy.
Brilliant.
Good name too, by the way.
Yes. Okay. Well, yes, good prompt on that then. Right. So Peter, I will fly over to Atlanta special because you've raised it on this call. I will book my flight now and go over there. Personal service. I'm sure it'll be fine. No, okay. Well, that's a good reason to go to OARC. So there you are. I knew that was a good thing to be doing.
It was totally not planned, but I had to take advantage of that stuff.
Quite right. Well done, Steve.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone else, either on stuff we've covered or indeed anything else from the last week that's gone by you think is worth highlighting? Let's give you a moment to think about it. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I don't see any hands raised or anyone unmuting. The other just idle bit of comment from the weekend I did happens to also affect Peter. I saw what I thought was a very amusing was it a tweet or email that you received from someone who was clearly disgruntled?
Yeah.
About being blocked, and they gave you, I think, as I put in my comment, I think it was to the point, it was concise, it was not especially actionable, so missing a bit of detail, but it conveyed their feelings, I think.
They were very angry that something had been blocked due to my list of domains for ads and trackers, and I get quite a lot of these people who have had it installed by their nephew or something, or niece, of course, they see something blocked on the screen and then they get really angry because they see my name, because it's in uBlock Origin, which is, I think, probably has the most number of users. It shows this domain has been blocked due to, and then the list, the filter list that it was blocked on. And mine is called Peter Lowe's ad and tracking server list. So they find my email address somehow and get in touch. And this guy was very, as you say, he's just ending his email. It was a one line, end his email with "fix it" in caps, which was, charming.
I don't think he specified what it was he wanted you to fix.
No.
But he conveyed the fact he was not happy about whatever it was.
Yeah. The other one I got actually this weekend was from someone who said, how do I get, there was for one specific block that they had, and they said, how do I get around this block? And when you see the thing, the block page, it says, there's a checkbox that says, don't warn me again about this site. And then there's a proceed button. And I said, so could you just tell me what you see on the screen? And he copied and pasted everything up until that bit. And I said, okay, so what's below that bit? And he copied and pasted everything, and then including the don't warn me again about this site. And I said, what's just below this bit? And didn't get back to me after that. Yeah.
Yeah, missed the helpful instructions literally on his screen. Never mind.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, I don't read these kind of things either myself, so but kind of guiding them towards the answer sometimes.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, on that note, I think we're done for this week. So little more within time than the last couple of weeks, which is no bad thing. So I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and look forward to seeing at least some of you in Atlanta next Thursday, Friday, maybe even Wednesday evening, depending on whether my flights run to time. So it should be good, and I will in particular make sure I action Peter's request. Otherwise, it'd be a bit sad if I go all that way and miss the opportunity to talk to one of the new star team whilst I'm there. So hopefully we'll be able next week. Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone, as I say, for your time. Thanks in particular, Dinesh, in his absence, and Steve for coming on, giving us a heads up on some of the things to look forward to at OARC. Have a great week, and see you all next week. So speak to you all then. Bye all.
Bye.